Yo guys, what's up? I hope you're doing well. And today I want to talk about two topics. I decided to cover both topics in one video because they actually go hand in hand. So firstly, I want to talk about Battlefront, going back to when it was released, how it was perceived by the press, and then how the game is doing these days. So, when Battlefront was released, I guess it is fair to say that it was pretty much bashed by the press. Some things that were mentioned were certainly true, like no single-player campaign was a bummer for some, no server browsers still suck now, and there were major balancing issues, some of which are still an issue these days. These negative points resulted in completely unjustified ratings, which not only makes me mad to this day, but I have a feeling that the huge hype around the game resulted in so unbelievably exaggerated expectations that the negative points led to some weird psychological reaction and completely blinded many people to the great game that is there below the various annoyances. I have been playing Battlefront since release for over 300 hours now, and the reviews of Battlefront remain one of the biggest mysteries in mainstream gaming journalism to me. Especially because some of the points criticized are completely not true in my opinion. Let us take a look at some of those points. Firstly, we had the lack of content. Okay, granted, Battlefront does not have a single player campaign, but the content of the multiplayer, even without the first two DLCs, was awesome. The maps across the different game modes haven't become boring at all, even after well over 300 hours of playtime, and I haven't hardly touched the survival and the battles modes much yet. Also, none of the reviews I read or saw on YouTube even mentioned the game that comes with a smartphone app and offers a free game that offers dozens of hours of gameplay and daily scenarios for free. This is sloppy journalism. Secondly, people were complaining of a too casual gameplay. And the only way I can explain these complaints is that people were expecting something more along the lines of a BF4 mod, with all the weapons customizations and classes, etc. Well, to all those people, I can only say that do not get into a game with too specific expectations and then start bashing the game if you do not get exactly what you were expecting. The weapon system in Battlefront works differently and is heavily depending on the combination with star cards that alter the effects of your weapons. And if you do not like that, it's okay, but claiming that it is too casual, etc. is just petty. I literally talked to a friend who told me that the game doesn't have enough weapons. So I checked his stats and he had 3 weapons unlocked. I just see a very strong pattern of people criticizing the game. A lot of those people do not know much about the game. Guys, my point is, I know Battlefront has issues, overpowered gear and dice taking ages to fix it, and no server browser are extremely annoying, but the reviews of Battlefront were very strange. It is almost as if the so-called gaming critics talked each other into bashing the game and only focused on the negatives. The quality of a game cannot be broken down into elements like the number of weapons. Games are a very unique media. Different from books or movies, we actively consume the content, and every time we play the game, the content is different. But even though games have that extra dimension in terms of active engagement, think about how you personally relate to any piece of art or entertainment. Let's say you are watching a movie, but the special effects are so-so. But the movie itself is just great, the actors are killing it, the plot is great, and the movie has soul. You're gonna be loving this movie and not thinking about the mediocre special effects. And this brings me to my second topic of today's video. In my opinion, most gaming critics are not real gamers, or at least not anymore. Maybe they started to work in the gaming industry because they loved games, but I really have the impression when reading reviews that the guys writing the articles are doing a job and somewhere along the way lost their passion. And actually it is hard to blame them. They gotta hammer out those articles about games they would probably not play in the first place because they might not be too fond of the genre, and then have to write a few pages about that game. Of course, they start nitpicking and writing about stuff that is not really important. Then people read that same article and are put off by it because they think that those game reviewers have some kind of authority and really take every word they write very seriously. As an example, look at the Doom review by Polygon's reviewer Arthur Gies. In the video in which he showcases the game, it becomes obvious after only 30 seconds that his FPS skills are abysmal. And this guy, who is not even familiar with the core mechanics of an FPS shooter, is reviewing Doom, a title that has such a long history that it comes burdened with gigantic expectations. And then there's this guy potentially damaging the legacy of such a game only because he is an FPS noob. By the way, no offense intended. I know Arthur Gies has been bashed by the gaming community a lot, but it is just such a remarkable thing that happened that I had to mention it. And this is the reason why I mostly stay away from gaming sites these days. I am rather relying on my own opinion and watch some few YouTubers where I can see that those guys are OG gamers. I actually think that gaming sites will become less and less relevant with the growth of YouTube, and I'm happy to see that passionate gamers like myself have a tool with YouTube to create their own community. Either way, guys, please let me know what you think of the mainstream gaming press and how you gather your information about games you are considering to buy. Maybe my video helped you to think about how you judge games, and if you are not better off getting your information from somewhere else like YouTube. If you liked what you saw today, it would be great if you can give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and either way, I hope I see you in my next video, guys. Have a good one.